Hello everybody and welcome to April's financial planning update. As usual, we will begin with a little update on how the markets are performing. And as you'll see from the graph, if we look at most of the major markets year to date, when we last reviewed things in March, things were looking fairly reasonable, but there's been a significant growth in most major stock markets since the beginning of April, really. This is attributed largely to improving outlooks on the back of successful vaccine programs. Of course, many economies are now reopening. And in addition, we've also seen some very impressive results from the big US technology companies, which probably aren't really reflected in these figures quite yet. So we may see some further growth in the next couple of days on the major market indices, because of course the technology companies now make up a very significant percentage of not just the US market, but also the global stock market as well. So it's really one of these cases where the technology companies are the rising tide that will lift the market ships, as it were. And there's now a lot of commentary suggesting that the improvement in outlook, if you like, for those technology companies is probably more permanent than some people anticipated. I think this time last year, people were expecting it to be a pandemic blip. But as time goes on, it's becoming clear that technology, home working, video communication, all of these things are going to become more integrated into our lives, probably on a permanent basis, which of course bodes fairly well for the technology giants moving forward. In terms of the portfolios, we've seen a similar picture here with some fairly impressive performance throughout the month of April. So the balanced portfolio, which is our most popular portfolio, is now up nearly 4.25% year to date, and sitting here only a third of the way through the year. That's a fairly happy place to be. And of course, we've got the other portfolios that sit alongside that. A common question that people ask me is the difference between the active and the passive portfolios. Now, we've long maintained that both strategies will probably deliver fairly similar outcomes over extended periods of time. But even looking at 2021 year to date, as you'll see, the performance of the two portfolios overall, these are the balanced active and passive portfolios, the performance is almost identical, 0.05% that separates the two of them as of the end of April. So very, very little to choose between the two. You'll notice that the active portfolio fell slightly behind a little bit earlier in the year, but it has then recovered ever so slightly faster. So it's really closed the gap to the point where the two of them are now almost identical. One other thing I just wanted to mention today is our thoughts on cryptocurrency and crypto assets, and any inkling that we might include those within the portfolios. I did touch on this in a previous briefing as well. But of course, cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, is gaining a lot of headlines at the moment. And therefore, people are starting to question, well, should this be included within mainstream portfolios? Our view at the moment is definitely no, on the basis that cryptocurrency is fundamentally a currency. Currency trading by definition, even in the more traditional sense where we're trading the pound and the dollar or the pound and the euro, currency trading is notoriously volatile, even in the more traditional world. Cryptocurrency is substantially more volatile than even traditional currency trading. So we tend not to view currency trading as an investment, more as a method of speculation. And for the time being, our opinion on cryptocurrency is very much the same. We view it as a speculation asset more so than an investment asset. And of course, the reason for that is that there's no income stream attached to Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency for that matter. There's no intellectual property that sits behind it. So for that reason, we see it as a tool mainly for speculation, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be aware that it is a speculative asset class. The other issue, which of course gives us concern and would rule it out of inclusion within portfolios for the time being, is that it's a completely unregulated asset at the moment. There's no regulatory protection in place. And perhaps most importantly, there's no fraud protection in place with cryptocurrency exchanges either. So we've seen various high profile cases where crypto exchanges have been hacked, and essentially people with Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies are simply stolen. and there is no recourse or restitution in those situations, you have simply lost your money. There was also a high-profile case, I think, in Scandinavia, where a chap died suddenly, and he was the CEO of a crypto exchange, and he was the only person who had the password to unlock the hard drive that had several £1 million worth of people's cryptocurrency keys stored on it. And that, again, that money is just lost theoretically forever. So lots of problems with cryptocurrency, I think, as an asset for inclusion in mainstream portfolios. Do I think blockchain and cryptocurrency has a role to play in the future of finance and payments? Yes, I probably do. I just don't see it as an asset class for investing in per se. What potentially would be an interesting opportunity is investing in some of the companies that facilitate cryptocurrency payments. So there was one of the major cryptocurrency exchanges listed on the stock market just very recently, and it's launched with a multi-billion-dollar valuation. So that, I think, is potentially an interesting area for investing in the cryptocurrency world without necessarily investing in cryptocurrency itself. So I think you'll start to see lots more companies involved in the technology behind cryptocurrency listing on various stock exchanges, and therefore they might then be included within portfolios. So that's our view for the time being. The Bank of England is looking into creating what's being dubbed Britcoin by the media. And that would be, of course, an official government-backed cryptocurrency. Very, very early days at the moment. This is just the launch of an exploratory project currently, but it's interesting to see that the Bank of England is taking cryptocurrency seriously. And I think that leads to conclude that it will have a part in the future in some way, shape or form. But we will bide our time on that one and wait to see what the Bank of England come up with. The final thing to mention today is just our plans for reopening the office. As it stands, we are currently holding trust signing meetings in the office. The reason being is that that's the part of the process that really does have the greatest capacity for errors, where people are left to their own devices. So we're inviting people who are comfortable to do so to come back into the office for trust signing meetings at the moment. Our plan is on the 17th of May, which is step 3 of the government's roadmap, that we will also then bring most client meetings back into the office as well. So, of course, several of you have already booked meetings to come into the office. We can't wait to show you our new home. It's been a long time coming to get to this point. So we're very much looking forward to having clients back in the office. With that said, the option of a Zoom meeting will most certainly remain available, for those people who do not wish to travel, if they're not comfortable traveling at this point in time, but also just for people who find it more convenient, or if we're going to have a quick catch-up meeting, then Zoom is a very useful tool for those sort of quick interactions, maybe midway through the year, in between the more mainstream review meetings that we have with clients. So Zoom will absolutely remain on the menu. We've had all of the meeting rooms in the office kitted out with professional Zoom equipment. So we very much believe that we will live in a hybrid world, but most certainly we're looking forward to having people back in the office, and can't wait to show you what we've done with the place. So that's everything for today. I hope you found this update useful. Enjoy what looks to be a very nice day today, and we'll see you again next month.